Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here. Here this will be the end of the DLC. You know, we're going to be finishing everything that I want to do in a video in here. I'm leaving a lot of the area progressions and stuff for when Torchic, if she wants to play this DLC, or if Psycho, friend of the channel, decides to get into Elden Ring, and then decides to do the DLC. But a couple things I want to mention. First off, we have 3 bosses left, I believe. I know we have 2 Remembrance bosses, but I believe we have a third that's not non-Remembrance boss before we are basically end the game. Um, that being said, this fucking area is awful. This is awful. Like, I mean really, really bad. Getting to Midra is extremely toxic. So first and foremost, you have to go to, not this area, right? Yeah, you have to go, essentially, to storefront, first floor. Go back on yourself, there'll be like a little path down here that you can go down. Eventually, you can see a dragon painting. So when you come out of that door, just go to your left. Go to your left, go down, eventually, and make sure you hang the left side, because that left side there will be a ladder. You can go down, interact with the painting. There's an invisible wall in that room to the right of the painting if you're looking at it. You go to a coffin, you do a whole bunch of shenanigans, and then eventually you get to Darklit Catacombs. The final boss is really bad. I mean really bad. It's one of the worst bosses in Elden Ring, and Elden Ring has a crap ton of bad bosses. This one is just straight up terrible. He summons minions periodically, but also he spams, and I mean spams projectiles. This boss is fucking terrible. Dog shit. Like, I almost, just said, fuck it. This is too much of a process to get to Midra. I don't want to do it. And then, however, I ended up beating him. You end up going to working your way down. That's the only way to get this, it's the only way to get the map fragment. You have to do that, and you have to kill the final boss for the Darklit Catacombs in order to get to the church ruins, which is where that thing is at. Then you have to make your way. There's going to be a lantern. Creepus Vial. You need Creepus Vial. Or the Black Knife Teach set. Or the Black Knife set. You need one of those two. There is no exception. No ifs, ands, or buts. You need one of those. It'll prevent him from aggroing. Because there's a, what I'm going to call a Winter Lantern there. There's a Winter Lantern there that will activate much sooner. But the strat that I found that worked best to get past him without dying was you would sprint. Also, I would heavily suggest wearing the Green Turtle Talisman as well. But I would keep sprinting, get Madness, make sure it procs, dodge a couple times, then drink a flask, keep sprinting. He's gonna get close, but, well, you dodge a couple times after you get Madness, then drink one flask. Then dodge a couple times if he's close to keep on sprinting. Just keep on sprinting. And then this area is not exactly a fun time to get through either. So I am halfway expecting that this boss better be good. This boss better be freaking phenomenal. I need to rest. That being said, we need to change our setup. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be facing here. So I'm just going to have... I'm expecting Holy, maybe? So, Pearl Drake Talisman. I forget what Madness damage counts as, if it counts as, like, fire, lightning, or whatever, so... Alright, but here we have our second to last Remembrance boss.
The depths of your foolishness!
What? What the? This is weird. This is a little weird. Frick. Finger seal, finger seal, finger seal! I forgot my finger seal. I forgot my finger seal. This is such a weird start to a boss fight. I'm assuming we're gonna have the cutscene from the trailer.
Enough. I have endured more than enough.
This is gonna be. Oh god, this is gonna be disgusting. Okay.
I ask you forgive me, dearest Nanaya.
Oh! 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 Okay. This music reminds me of Bloodborne. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh wow. Okay. I think madness counts as fire. I need him to aggro. Okay. I don't know what attack that is. Oh my god! Oh my god, okay, that was quite an attack. And we have to worry about madness too. Okay, okay. So far it's definitely not worth it to go here, but okay, we're gonna make sure to cast Golden Vow. There's no NPC summons for this, as far as I know. Besides, I'd rather just take it between me and my Mimic.
Depths of your foolishness!
Okay, we're gonna skip the cutscene though. We're gonna run as far back though. Okay, he hit me with that last attack. Ooh, he proc bleed. Okay, I couldn't dodge that. Damn. Ooh, okay. Oh no, I'm grabbed. Oh damn, that's a pretty cool attack. Oh my god! That does a lot of damage. Oh my god! Yeah, that attack I'm not exactly sure how to dodge. Oh, broken stance again, let's go! 3 times! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Okay! Okay, okay. Okay. I'm gonna give my thoughts on the boss, you know. I'll give my two thoughts. Okay, first off, this gives it up to 21. Yeah, this scales up intelligence more than anything else. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about this while I, you know, do some stuff. But, for me personally, the way to get to that boss is not worth fighting that boss. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, what? Staff of the Great Beyond and Gazing Finger? That's a colossal weapon. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Then this great sword, you know. Okay, out of curiosity, equipment. What do I have access to? Okay, so I don't have access to much necessarily. Okay. 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 But, yeah, the boss definitely wasn't quite worth it. Just for me personally. For me personally, the boss was not worth it, worth all the goddamn trouble to get to him. That being said, pretty solid boss. I liked it. He's kind of mid. He's above Mesmer and, the Skeleton Horse boss. But he's below everyone else that we have fought on this channel so far. Now, I'll just be showing the rest of the game. I'll just be showing the rest of the game. Based on usual From Software tradition, we won't actually have that long till the finale, you know. Okay, we gotta use Mesmer's Flame here. Do keep in mind, before you do a lot of this stuff, you do have to make sure that you complete all the quests that you wanted to. Make sure you do that first. Okay. And again, I'm not a huge fan of the burning of the tree thing again. I'll say that red flame looks really cool. Even though temperature-wise, red is like the coldest sun, if that makes sense, and blue is the hottest. I believe. I might have that backwards, actually. Now to think about it, I think I have that backwards. I think I have that backwards. I'm assuming the shadows will be lifted. Oh, never mind. I was right. Blue is the hottest, and then red is the coldest, quote unquote. Okay. I just had to make sure. I just had to make sure. Okay, another crumbling farm Azula, basically. We showed the boss to get here in my first video. Oh, we're just being teleported? Also, at the end of this video, I will be giving my personal final thoughts on the DLC. Compared comparatively to other things. I'm going to be comparing it to Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1, and Bloodborne's DLCs. I know Dark Souls 2 had DLC, however, I'm completely unfamiliar with that game, because I have not played it personally, so there's no real reason for me to talk about that DLC when I haven't played the game, so that's how I'm going to treat that. Okay, this feels... Enir Elim. Damn! I'm just gonna cast Golden Vow just for some defenses. Actually, how close am I? That was another thing I was kind of worrying about, is I have a crap ton of runes on me, and I don't exactly want to die with this many. I know normally I don't use all my buffs right away, but... Interesting that there's another gray site right here. That's a little weird. Okay, we're just gonna use one of the remembrances. I'm not really interested in getting anything from this remembrance. Is this a shortcut doodad? Mesmer Fire Grease. Okay. Or where does this lead? This can't be leading to a boss. That just seems heavily unlikely to me. Blue-Red Tower Settlement. Oh! This is a kind of a pointless shortcut? This is kind of a pointless shortcut. What was the point of that? There's a gray site there, so I don't quite understand. Unless, I guess if you hadn't beaten the Lion Dance boss yet, I guess that's your chance to go fight him, I guess? It reminds me of Stellar Blade. So, in case y'all don't know, one of the issues that I have with Stellar Blade is that, in my opinion, almost all of the shortcuts are fucking useless. Broken Rune again. That's not a purple. We're only gonna stop by and pick up items that are shiny purple. This definitely seems elvish, if that makes sense. We're not fighting him. Fuck that shit. We're not fighting him. We're not fighting him. Oh my god. Let me... Okay. Okay. A great sight. have at least 3 at bare minimum. We have 3, so. Okay, let's see here. Your Ansbach is dead. Oh, something that I do want to clarify is if you don't like Thalier or don't want him for a... Okay, that's a little odd. For as a like final boss, be warned. Because you won't have Talier for the final boss, but you will have Mesmer for... You'll have Horn Scent for Mesmer. Those guys kind of look like the little dudes from Bloodborne. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm getting shredded. I'm getting shredded. Bro, what? This is toxic! From something this is toxic! Ooh, we have to get in here. We have to grab this. That is so toxic. Okay. Okay. We are being chilling. Okay, we did not need... Well, we're not gonna find two. Oh my god. Holy shit. Let me just do this. Okay. Where does that bring us to? Okay, I don't really know where that brought us to. I would like to figure out where this shortcut is. Really? Really? Please give me a gray sight. Please give me a gray sight. I have no heals whatsoever. Oh my god! Please! I was so close. No, I have to run through all those birds again. No, I have to run through all of those birds again. Oh my god, I have to run through all those fucking birds. God damn it. I'm gonna be honest though, Creeper's Vial and Turtle Tasman seem not to be helping me that much. What the fuck? What the fuck? We got through them. Okay, I'm trying to keep my stamina full here. It's that guy. Okay, that was good. We don't need to go down there, so we're good there. We probably should actually kill this guy. Alright. Because this guy is kind of dangerous. Lean it back over to my mimic. There we are. Alright. Okay. We're fine. Keep pressing on. I swear, if the gray side was fucking in here the whole time, I'm gonna be a little upset. I'm gonna be quite upset. Alright. Gotta check something real quick. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Controller? Oh no. Okay. Thalier summon sign should be here. Thalier summon sign should definitely be here. Maybe it depends on our decision here.
It was never kindly Nicola, was it? The Erd Tree was leading you all along, so that you might ascend.
We're gonna just purposely die here.
I come to these lands to begin with. I suppose it must be what His Eminence, or perhaps the Erd Tree, desired all along. The clashing of the favored lords, such that one would prevail. So be it. If you insist upon facing Nicola the Kind, then I will run you through whoever you might be. Don't tarry now.
Oh, okay. That's for Thalier. This is for Sir Ansbach, I believe. Interesting. Okay. We're gonna summon Thalier. Can we do both? Sanguine Noble, Nathan. Okay. We can't use Wondrous Flask here. We also can't cast our spells here. Okay. Alright. Sorry, Nita Knight Lita. We gotta get past you.
Don't you dare approach Nicola the Kind. Needle Knight Ledder, Dryleaf Dane, and our allies will never allow this. I am the Red Mane Freya. The time has come.
Damn it, Freya. Why you had to do us like this? Yeah, Mimic. Yeah, okay. Oh, no more! Why? I liked you more! Why you gotta do this to me? Bro. Bro's spamming the same attack. have Scarlet Rot, which is fine. He has to go first because he's giving everyone Golden Bow. That's right, bitch. Oh, shit! I don't have any more magic. Oh my god, more your pain. You're a pain in the ass. I don't have the right spell for that. Backstab, bitch! I have to make sure she doesn't kill Thalia. Damn, such a shame I had to end like this, Lena. Damn. Ah, that was a good fight too. That was a good fight. Damn, having both, man, that was a pretty good. It really felt like a pseudo one for all type deal. Damn. I liked more Freya too. Dane, you never spoke, so I don't really care about you. Damn, I kind of didn't want to kill Lita. I didn't get her helmet at all, though. Damn. I liked Lita. Tis a shame. That fight was good. That fight was really good. I enjoyed that. Out of the remembrance... Okay, I have no gray sight here. I'm gonna send this back down. Because if there is no gray sight right outside of here, this reminds me of something. Oh, there's a gray sight up here. Wait, the top of the branches are white. Get into intelligence, getting that shit up to 40. We're definitely gonna have a cutscene here, but this is the final boss. Of course, we're gonna have Thalia here. He's realized the truth about Mikola. Mikola is not exactly, you know, Saint Trina, which is Mikola's other half, that he cast out. Saint Trina does think he needs to die. Okay, what is this arena?
My loyal blade and champion of the festival. Both your deeds will ever be praised in song. Now,
Goddamn.
the vow will be honored, and my lord brother's soul will return, so that he may be my consort.
Oh, this armor actually looks pretty cool. Oh, this looks so cool. Damn. Radon. Ooh. That armor looks so sick. Oh, that armor looks so sick. Woo! What the fuck? I didn't buff my boss. Oh, wait, we should die here purposefully. Okay. Okay. Hey everyone, this is editing me here, so just giving you an epilepsy warning. Radon's second phase has an attack that, in my opinion, might trigger epilepsy. It's very spammy, very bright, so I am going to let y'all know that ahead of time. I will be showing his second phase, and then I will only be showing the fight one time after that. I just went invincible. I don't consider this boss beaten, in my opinion. That's why I'm mostly like, I finished the DLC. I didn't necessarily beat it, because I didn't beat him in particular. Also, I will have some random-ass gameplay going on after this fight. Mostly just to talk about my closing thoughts on the DLC, because I kept getting interrupted. So, I'm just going to, and I'm also going to give my thoughts on all the bosses and everything as well. So, yeah, epilepsy warning, skip to the timestamp on screen currently if you want to skip that. Right. I'm dead, though, so we get to see this cutscene. Whoa, what? Bro, God, this smells like so cool. Is that Mikola interfering?
Lord brother. At long last you are returned. Tarnished one.
Oh, so I'm not sure how Radon's hero when we killed him on the other side.
The old order. If you have known sin, if you grieve for this world, then yield the path forward to us. To I, Mikola, and my promised consort, Radon.
Too bad I'm dead. This DLC is really badly balanced. I'm gonna sit here and whack. This is so goofy. You know what? Okay, let me equip this turtle talisman, please. There we are. We still have poise, so we can't get knocked down. It'll probably be easier once people figure out his resistances and his values, because he does not proc reliably, and unfortunately, I don't have a good pole arm. I just don't, unfortunately. I wonder if will my Mimic be invincible? No way my Mimic will be invincible, right? No way my Mimic's also invincible. Oh my god. There you can see that visceral animation, so that's nice. And then this grab, which I don't believe kills you off rip, but it puts you in kind of a weird spot. Because he follows up immediately. So this is technically his pseudo third phase. Yay! There's like a story thing, an ending thing, right? Let us go together. I'll touch this gray site, and you know, get my quick thoughts on my quick DLC thoughts. And hold up. Touch memory. The fuck does that do?
Lord brother. I'm going to be a god. If we honor our part of the vow, promise me you'll be my consort.
Damn. Alright. I'll explain some things here in a bit.
I'll make the world a gentler place.
Alright, I'm gonna give my quick thoughts about the DLC here. This is editing me, by the way. So random footage will be playing in the background at some certain points. So don't worry about that. First off, is the DLC worth it? Yes and no. It's worth it if you're on PC. If you're on console, don't bother getting this DLC. In my opinion, unlike DLCs like Artorias of the Abyss, Old Hunters, and even the Ringed City and Ashes of Ariendo, I don't like. I don't think. Like, when I play through Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and even Dark Souls 1, I have to play those DLCs. Like, it doesn't feel right for me to not play those DLCs. But for Elden Ring, it completely feels natural even to not play this DLC at all. In my opinion, at least. It doesn't add enough to the story. It doesn't add barely anything to the story at all without massively looking into the lore. Which I am sorry, but... And this is coming from someone that loves Bloodborne story, loves Dark Souls 1 story, loves even likes Dark Souls 3 story. If I have to look into every single fucking item to have a basic level of understanding, to integrate it into the base game, it's not good. It's trash. Garbaggio. Like, Bloodborne, a lot of its story is told through the environment and the way bosses behave and stuff. You get a general sense of what's happening in Bloodborne, and when you play the DLC, you're like, oh, wait, Ludwig, I have his sword. Lady Maria, oh, the doll has dialogue. And then it's like, Living Failures, you can't really connect the dots very well, but Lawrence vs. Vicar, wait, we had a cutscene. I was like, fear the old blood, Lawrence. Fear the old blood. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. And then, you know, of course, you have Orphan of Cosm was mentioned, you know. pretty heavy integration in for Artorias. Artorias, I believe, is mentioned briefly, but then you have Sif. Sif is a boss, and Sif has a special cutscene if you do the Artorias of the Abyss DLC before fighting him, which is super cool. Dark Souls 3 does not have this level of necessary integration. However, Gale is in the base game. So if you have the DLC, Gale integrates himself into the regular playthrough. Like, you naturally come across him across the story. Multiple times, like twice, actually. Yeah, you come across him twice. And Ashes of Ariandel is massive references to Dark Souls 1 and the Painted World. There, some massive references there. And then you have the Demon Princes, which are reminiscent of... I forgot the lava area in Dark Souls 1 where the Bed of Chaos is at. I forgot. I can't believe I forgot. But, yeah, Demon Runes. So, yeah, Lost Izalith. So you have those areas that are pretty heavily connected. Heavily connected. Meanwhile, in Elden Ring, the only connection is, oh, there's an NPC here. None of the bosses, except for the last one, was really reminiscent of anything in the base game at all. And, unfortunately, the final boss kind of comes out of nowhere. And this is, again, speaking to which of, without considering looking at every single fucking item description. Considering a base level of understanding. This is also why I don't really think Elden Ring story is that good. Even after hearing a lot of the lore for the game, to me, it's just... I prefer Bloodborne. I think, in my opinion, I think Dark Souls 1, personally, would probably edge out Bloodborne for me personally in terms of story. But that's mostly because Bloodborne gets quite confusing when you get to the dream stuff. When they get to the dream stuff and all that shenanigans, I think the story becomes a little bit too confusing. In my opinion, I think Dark Souls 1 really does have the best Soulsborne story, and this is coming for someone that really loves Bloodborne. So, like, Bloodborne's my favorite Soulsborne game, as y'all probably know by this point. But the DLC just, shout out to the Air Tree, I don't see a point of playing this DLC more than once. I just don't. None of the bosses are super outstanding either. I would argue that all of them are worse than the top 5, or even some bosses in the DLC are worse than even the top 10 in Elden Ring, in base game. I think there's only 2 bosses really that can come close to breaching the top 5, and those, in my opinion, are Romana, Saint of the Bud, and the Sunflower boss. I think those are the only 2. I think Radahn's massive issue stems from the fact that the DLC is poorly scaled. What I mean by this is, in Elden Ring, in base game, there's not too much of a difference in terms of enemy power between areas. You know, from Limgrave to Caelid to Liurnia. And by the way, my recommended area progression is obviously to start at Limgrave. I would suggest going to Liurnia next, then Caelid, then Atlas Plateau, then Lindell, then, you have Mount of the Fire Giants, then Crumbling Farm, Missoula, then Lindell, capital city of Ash. That's 8 areas, right? And the DLC has about 5 or 6. That being said, the enemy scaler there is anywhere from 3 times to 7 times of the previous area. And this mostly impacts bosses. So actually, a little bit of a fun fact, you're actually dealing with more of a massive scale between bosses than in the base game. Also, one of my biggest issues is I would have preferred the upgrade materials being for beating bosses. So, like, the more optional bosses you defeated, the stronger you would be for the main game bosses. So you would still have an option of, hey, if you want to get stronger, go beat some other bosses first. You're not supposed to be here. Other than being, okay, let me just go grab all the fucking scattered Earth Rays before even fighting the first boss. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't like the scaling. I think the scaling should be at or above capital city of Ash. In my opinion. That being said, you can get to Lord Mog. And offline, you can technically get to him in Atlas Plateau, but realistically, you're not going to have a completed build until Crumbling Farm Missoula, because so many quests end there. Like Bernar's quest ends there, which is, to this day, even considering all the DLC armor, has the highest resistance for remaining a medium roll at 30 endurance, and that's without Erdtree's favor. With Erdtree's favor, you can have your endurance as low as 20, or 25. Beast Champion armor, still no other armor tops it. None. Zero, capiche, zip, zap, none. And, of course, there's a Shard of Alexander, which that quest also ends at Crumbling Farm Missoula. There's a lot of stuff that ends at Crumbling Farm Missoula, so I feel like this area should have scaled Crumbling Farm Missoula and higher. I really do not like how they handle this DLC. Like, in Bloodborne, the scaling... Also, keep in mind, if you have to worry about the final boss being ridiculously easy, maybe that's a problem with your game. Maybe that's a problem. Otherwise, they also could have just made it to where the Elden Ring bosses just don't give runes, or give a very small amount of runes. Because levels don't even matter in the DLC anyways. So what's the point of getting runes? None. Levels do matter a little bit, but they don't really matter at all. Now, because in Bloodborne, Old Hunter's DLC, after you beat it, Gehrman is not exactly a cakewalk. He's just not. He can still kill you pretty damn quickly if you don't fuck around. Especially if you're going for the Moon Presence ending as well, and if you fight those two back to back. Which is, just personally, the way I like to play Bloodborne is I prefer to not do my best not to die between Gehrman and Moon Presence, because I would prefer those to be one phase. Especially after beating the DLC. I feel like it's a lot more fun that way, and it makes Moon Presence a little bit more scarier, considering that, Yeah, but, here's what I'll also say. The areas are pretty good and pretty well put together themselves. I will say it's a little too annoying to get to some bosses. One of the Midra, the all-knowing or whatever, his boss fight is just simply not worth it. Simply not fucking worth it. In my opinion, he has the worst getting to, because to get to him, it's just too terrible. Also, the caveat of scatter tree fragments being the main thing is there's zero reason for me to kill enemies. Zero reason. I just found myself just literally just running through every single area. I just found myself going point A to point B because there's no point in killing enemies for runes because levels don't matter. And giving all the smithing stones to the somber smithing stones don't matter either because my weapons are already plus 10 by the time I get here. That's why the balancing is poor because I have zero reason to actually explore outside of items, but my build is already, like, Moonveil is very, very good outside of two exceptions, that was being for Mesmer and Radon. And for Radon, it's because of how his posture, his poise is really high, so it's not easy to stance break him. And for Mesmer, Bleed was just a lot easier to proc, and I could stance break him, so yeah. But okay, now we've spoken a little bit about the integration to the base game. Now that we've spoken about, is it worth it or not, which again, console, I do believe it's worth it. For PC, for console, I don't believe you should get it, but if you have PC, because you can mod it, I recommend. For in terms of modding, I would recommend like a 20% damage reduction. If you have if you have heavy armor, or if you have a shield and spear, don't bother. don't bother with any of your damage reductions. You'll be perfectly fine, especially if you main a Spear and Shield. It turns this DLC into a joke because of how aggressive the bosses are. If the bosses were not as aggressive, Spear and Shield would not necessarily be as worth it as it is. But yeah, Spear and Shield makes bosses, especially Mesmer and Consort of Megalodon, it turns them into giant jokes. Especially from what I've seen. That being said, discussing the Remembrance bosses, in my opinion, my top 3 are kind of difficult. I would say probably I'll probably say Scattertree Avatar, Sunflower Boss is number 1, the Romana number 2, those two are very close, the number 3 being Divine Beast Dancing Line. In my opinion, then the reason why Divine Beast is, the only reason why he's number 3 is because, 1, a lot of the other bosses suck, but also 2, he's pretty cool, especially for a first boss you get to naturally. In the second phase, he switches between 3 elements: lightning, frost, and technically physical, but I consider it to be wind. So that is honestly pretty damn cool in my opinion. But first, we'll start in order of what the recommended order is of beating them. First, Divine Beast Dancing Line. He's very solid. All the boss music in Elden Ring is completely forgettable, except Radahn I'd be able to place, and I would have to play through the DLC one more time in order to point out a couple of the other bosses, which we will do with Torchic when Seamless Co-op is fixed. We'll probably start doing that. I'll make sure she gets the DLC as well, because that might cause a problem with Seamless Co-op. But we'll get there when we get there, sort of situation. We will be beating all of the bosses, including Radahn we'll attempt to beat legitimately. That being said, I will be putting in a, depending on if I was missing a lot of Scattertree avatars, I will probably just put on a 20% damage reduction, specifically for Radahn, specifically. Also, bosses have more health in Seamless Co-op, so that is something to think about. But we'll get there when we get there. So, Dancing Lion, pretty solid boss. Is he better than the top 5 Elden Ring bosses? Hell no. Just absolutely not. My top 5, to put in perspective, my top 5, number 1 is probably Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. I kind of have a soft spot for him. It was the first time in Elden Ring where I was like, holy shit, the music. It was kind of the first time, because at that point, I don't believe I had beaten Radahn. When I got to him, I didn't even complete Ronnie's quest at this point in time. I had to go back and do it. But yeah, Godfrey the first Elden Lord was super good. I really enjoyed his moveset. Personally, my favorite boss. I also used the wolves for him, ironically enough, so that's kind of funny. My number 2 is probably Horulu. I like how drastic his moveset switch up is in his second phase, and I kind of like how he's kind of the only one that uses his fists. Like, you know, with the grappling and everything. My number 3 would be Placiduce. Really, really awesome boss for a dragon fight. Really cool visuals. Speaking of visuals, my number 4 is definitely Fortisax. Absolutely fantastic boss to fight. And my number 5 would probably be Radahn. Specifically for the spectacle of the fight and everything. So I think Radahn would probably be my personal number 5. So yeah, those are my personal top 5 bosses. I don't think Dancing Beast Lion is any better than any of them. Rolana Twin Moon Knight, I kind of forget that she's a boss sometimes. She feels like she's in the wrong game. She really feels like she's in the wrong game. With how aggressive she is and how much she moves, it feels like that she should be in Bloodborne, ironically enough. Because I feel like some attacks, like, if I had a gun, if I had the blicky, I could just pop and poise break, and it would, like, I can't express how good Bloodborne feels to play if you haven't played it, but it's like in Dark Souls 1 and 3, because I don't parry at all in Elden Ring. It's like when you get a boss and you parry him for the first time, you get that visceral, just like, Because also, I would argue in Bloodborne, it requires a little bit more watching, because the window you have to parry is the same. However, it's not like with the shield and melee weapon, you just have to be close. In Bloodborne, you have to stay close, because they get out of their stance, they get out of their parrying stance, I feel like a little bit quicker than most other bosses. But she feels like a boss that would work really well in Bloodborne. I do like the fact her music just goes nowhere, unfortunately. Music's trash. I feel like it was just music that they wanted for the trailer, and then they decided, oh, this trailer music is barely good enough to be a boss. Let's just slap it on a boss and don't change anything with it. But I do like how Rolana, when she does the Moon Slam thing, and you need to jump. And I do like the sort of Moonveil-esque of the two vertical flashes, then the two horizontal flashes. So that the dodge that you dodge to the side once, you dodge to the side 1, 2, then jump 1, 2. I do like that, at least to avoid most of the damage. You might get hit by that fourth hit, but I really, really do like that. In my opinion, it's personally one of my... I do enjoy dodging that boss. I just don't like how most of the fucking fight is dodging. And letting just my mimic do all the work. That's something I'm just not a huge fan of. I want to be... I like playing a little bit more aggressively. But the unfortunate part of that is... You know... I'm stuck. Like, just dodging. Like, it also unfortunately makes a lot of strategies completely unviable. As far as... You know... Dragon Scale, for example, which is why I switched. And then you have the Putrescent Knight, which I don't even remember that boss. I don't even remember that boss. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, it's the fucking horse one. Okay, I had to look it up real quick. That's how you know a boss is bad, is when I see its name and I don't fucking recognize it. So yeah, Putrescent Knight, hated the fucking boss. Didn't like getting to him necessarily, and all spectacle, nothing else. Music was trash, felt like I should have had Torrent for that fight. Garbaggio fight. I'm fine with hard bosses, but this one was just, I felt like Elden Ring in general, has a lot of bosses that just one-shot out of nowhere. Like 1 or 2 shot out of nowhere. And I feel like the DLC ramps up the level of just bullshit. Just bullshit deaths. Like, I've had to rely more on strictly iframes in this DLC than I've had to in any other game. Like, iframes specifically. Like, what the fuck? And then Mesmer. Mesmer's eye. He's not top 3. He's not even top 5 in this DLC. I personally considered him to be the second worst boss fight in the DLC. The second worst, in my opinion. His first phase is fine. His second phase is so absurdly disappointing. I was expecting a little bit more of a spectacle, a little bit more. Like, and just the snakes and everything, I was like, you're in the wrong game, my guy. The snake things felt extremely out of place for Elden Ring specifically, and it's just like, it's like he switched games. I'm like, what the fuck? And the arena also is completely unimpressive as well. And like, the coolest part of Mesmer was the red flame, and that just isn't used really. And also his moveset doesn't necessarily change that much, except, ironically enough, you have even less time to react to his shit. So, those are my thoughts on Mesmer. Commander Gaius, completely forgettable. I fought him after Mesmer and a lot of these bosses, so I was probably over-prepared for him, but he was stupidly easy. Very mid. Scattertree, Avatar, again, is one of my favorite bosses in this DLC. He'd be one of the bosses that would at least be in the top 10 for Elden Ring. I would argue he might be even reach top 5 because he does the fake out. However, the fake out is terrible because you don't get that. You don't get a piece of loot. You're not falsely given something. You know, you're not falsely given just a little bit of runes like Sister Freed. You get a tiny slab for getting through her second phase. And I believe before that point there weren't any bosses with 3. So you know, you get that item and bam, third phase that comes out of nowhere, which that's what makes that fight so good. But that's the only thing that the boss was lacking. Also, I did feel like attacking the head was not really rewarding enough. I felt like just attacking the stem was a lot easier. But that's my only issues. Mother of Fingers, I feel like pretty solid boss. Definitely would freak some people out. I think it leans a little bit too hard into the cosmic horror space. I think it leans too much into the cosmic horror space. Again, a lot of these bosses feel out of place for Elden Ring, in my opinion. Like Mesmer's second phase felt very out of place, and yes, could definitely argue Dancing Lion felt out of place. But considering Malakath and Malakath's existence and everything, makes sense. That being said, what makes Mother of Fingers feel in place is Ashto the Natural Born. Ashto the Natural Born makes both of them they make each other feel in place. But pretty solid boss. Has the visuals. My biggest issue being that one attack animation is so long, with me just fucking standing there, not able to do anything. And then Major, Lord of Frenzy Flame, pretty decent boss, pretty good boss, but unfortunately, to get to him is just completely not worth it. Completely not worth it, in my opinion. Roman Sand of the Bud, it is very scary to get to her because you have to go through a bunch of giant scorpions. But, the boss fight was actually really, really good. In my personal opinion, it is the best fight that is involved in insect in some way, shape, or form. Armored Spider was terrible in Demon Souls. Quelaag was alright. I had never played Dark Souls 2, so I didn't fight the Scorpion one. Then in Bloodborne, Rom is a garbage-ass fight. And hey, this one was actually pretty fun. Scarlet Rot was alright, but I really enjoyed the fight. I just wish what would have really set her over the edge is if that butterfly form she's in for a specific attack would have just lasted through the entire second phase. Like, just at least the visuals, that would have peaked it for me as her as being my number 1. And then the last remember boss, you have Consort of Miquella. This boss is the most disappointed I was in a boss. This boss I was severely disappointed by. And if I'm super disappointed at a boss, it means it really could have been so good. It's just, one, he can take my fucking frames. Like, holy shit. Specifically in the second phase, he does so much shit that it can kind of, like, it was literally making me freeze and stutter sometimes. I was like, holy shit. And this was without Mod Engine being a part of things. It was actually smoother with Mod Engine in, because I wasn't taking any damage, so the game didn't have to worry about that necessarily. But I was like, holy shit. Like, the bosses, like, also one of the bosses attacks where he leads up in the air and he spams a bunch of fucking ground strikes is absurd. Like, are you trying to give people seizures? Are you trying to give people fucking seizures? It baffles me on the decisions they made with Consort and Miquella. It just baffles me. Also, by the time I reached Consort and Miquella, I didn't really understand why we were fighting Miquella. Yeah. And it's Consort. I didn't really understand that. Also, when we got to Lita, that fight was absolutely fantastic. It felt like an all-out brawl, like a bar fight, you know. It felt that fight was extremely fun. I really did enjoy that fight. But by the time I got to even Lita, I didn't quite understand why I was trying to kill Mikola. Another concert, that's something that I didn't really understand. Again, this is all talking about without looking into item descriptions, yada yada yada. If I have to look into item descriptions to understand where things are going, you've done a terrible job. I'm sorry, you just have. I understood Dark Souls 3 story without ever looking into the lore. I understand Bloodborne's surface level. In my opinion, in order for a Soulsborne game to be perfect, and even a Souls-like, I should be able to have a basic understanding of the story without looking into item descriptions. And then to further understand the story, then yes, you need item descriptions. You need all of that lore stuff. That's my personal opinion. So that's why I don't really like Elden Ring as a whole, because its story is ass. At a base level. Because I feel like the story changes really depending on your actions, while the other previous games didn't really do that. But and the ending, of course, was It was I didn't care about Mikola at all. Coming into the DLC, I didn't care about him at all. Leaving the DLC. I would say the music was really good. The visuals in the first phase were pretty cool. The gravity stuff was kind of unexpected. Like, it kind of came out of nowhere. I was expecting some fire shit, but like, but it made sense for him to use gravity magic since Radon is gravity based by default. But, you know, I was so disappointed because the music was so good. The second phase looked cool visually, but I was also hoping for a little bit more with the arena, especially after Dark Souls 3, because Dark Souls 3 came out after Bloodborne. Like, Slave Not Gale set the final boss DLC bar super high. Super high for me, and Radon is just in no way, shape, or form better than Gale. Just no way. Just no way. Like, we went from Manus, in my opinion, not a great ending DLC boss. And then we went from there. Dark Souls 2 has some DLCs. I don't know about that. Then, you know, you have Bloodborne, Orphan of Cause being the final DLC boss, which was really cool. Second phase, you know, he has lightning strikes coming down from the sky. He moves around super wildly, you know. All that good stuff. And then you have Slave Knight Gale, who, you know, has lightning strikes, again, that happen randomly. He has the flowing ghost gate. There's a lot of effects and stuff going on, not just with the boss, but with the arena. And what do we get when we reach Concert of Mikola? We get Dark Sky. That's it. Every other visual comes from the boss himself. Like, could we not get, like, a swirling flame around the edge of the arena? Or, like, in a skybox or at all, like, a falling stars or whatever? Like, shooting stars and shit? That would have been super cool. It also would have, the shooting stars would have fallen in theme. That would have been so cool. Make Radon a little bit easier. Have, I don't know, shooting stars every so often hit the ground, you know? That would have been super cool. Right? I gotta agree with, and, you know, shooting stars might not do that much damage, but maybe just interrupt your attack. I don't know. But DLC overall is disappointing. Final thoughts. It's worse than Old Hunters. Okay, if you consider both the Dark Souls 3 boss DLCs to be one thing, then I think Shadows of the Erdtree is the worst DLC that we've gotten so far. And again, this is giving Dark Souls 2 an exception because I have not played Dark Souls 2, nor do I want to. However, if you consider Dark Souls 3 DLCs to be separate, I think Shadows of the Erdtree is better than both of them. That being said, again, it's not better than Artorias or Bloodborne or like Old Hunters because they're so integrated into those games. I cannot see myself playing those games all the way through without the DLCs. With Elden Ring, I see myself, if I come back to it, just not playing the DLC unless I'm in seamless co-op and the other person wants to play the DLC. I just personally do not see it. I just don't see it. And I gotta be honest, there was a recent interview with Miyazaki where he was asked what his favorite Soulsborne games were, and his two were Dark Souls and Bloodborne. And I can tell, even though Elden Ring is considered to be his magnum opus, it is considered to be his magnum opus, but his favorites were Bloodborne and Dark Souls. And I can tell, there's not as much detail, care, like, there's not as much oomph as there was with, in Shadows of the Erdtree, as there was with Old Hunters and Artorias, right? Like, in Elden, in Shadows of the Erdtree, it was very rare that I was like, ooh, wow, boss! Oh, this boss looks sick! And starting like that, and then also ending like that. In the middle, trust me, Lady Maria kicked my ass. Also, Radahn is not the hardest boss. By a long shot. The hardest boss in a fucking DLC is in fucking Old Hunters. There's a goddamn well with two fucking big sharks. That's the hardest fucking boss. I could not fucking beat that in regular game. That took me fucking ages. Ages to get that shit done. Ages to get that shit done. And in terms of pure skill, fucking Lawrence. Fucking Lawrence. Holy shit, I consider him to be the hardest boss for me personally. Of all time. The hardest, in my opinion. Especially on my first run, dear fucking god. He almost made me give up the platinum. Not the Chalice Dungeon bosses, but him alone. While Radahn hasn't, if I really wanted to, if I had enough larval tears, I could have switched to a spear shield build, but I didn't have enough larval tears, so which would have made the Radahn a joke. But there was the build I could really switch to, making Lawrence a joke because I kept getting fucking bodied. But on that note, those were my concluding thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. What I got for the channel coming up. First, I already have everything recorded for the second episode of the Stellar Blade All Outfits New Game Plus. So I will be working on that. After that is done, well, while that's going on, the TWAB comes out today, so I might talk about the TWAB. If it's just a nothing TWAB, I'm not gonna care, but I also might talk about the Titans situation, and giving my personal thoughts on not just Prismatic Titan, but Titans as a whole. So that might be pub coming up, depending on how the TWAB is. After Stellar Blade, which I am assuming will basically be going on until I think I can finish it by August, like mid-August. I think it'll be done, or end of July. However, after that, because it will not last until October 11th, which is when Sparking Zero comes out, because I will be covering that game when it comes out, because I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. I don't know if y'all can tell, you know, profile picture and everything, but I will be covering that game when it comes out. I'm so excited for that game. But also, once Stellar Blade is finished, Dark Souls 3 will officially begin. What I have to say is, please bear with me. This is going to be a pretty gigantic project, especially since I'm going to basically be doing it by myself. Like, and I'm talking about, like, there will be a gameplay section at the beginning. At the end, the good old narrator will come back to you on camera. The only other time this has happened was for Kermit the Pimp series. But not just lore, but you'll also have area comparisons. I will have a mod installed for Dark Souls 3. One will be for the ladies. So, ladies, tune in. Even though I am actually able to see some of my analytics now. Most of y'all are dudes, but if ladies y'all are out there will be a special mod for you that we will be visiting every episode. So stay tuned for that. Also, fellas, it's a meme, so if you know, you know. Maybe I'll change the Firekeeper too for the fellas. I don't know. Probably not, though. But I will be having on a mod that will essentially give me invincibility, per se. However, this is for area progressions. So, me walking through areas and shit. Also, I will show me jumping off a cliff after that, so I have no runes, no nothing to gain from that. If anything happens, my weapon durability, I'm gonna have to constantly up my weapon durability, specifically with a washing pole. But so yeah, those are a couple of things I do want to mention. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I think people are glazing this DLC way too much, to put in layman's terms. I think people are hyping up this DLC way too much. I think it's way worse than what people are giving it credit for. And I think the people that despise this DLC are giving it too little credit. I think this is still a pretty solid DLC. I just think it's disappointing for a Soulsborne DLC. I'm more disappointed by this DLC than anything. I don't hate it. I would hate going through it again, as you'll see, but again, it's mid. It's mid, which is something I'm not used to. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. What y'all agree or disagree with, and I will catch y'all on the flip side.